Then Western man has had two great images. The first image is that the world is the handiwork of a creator king, the Lord God. We are his creatures, and he has made us in rather the same way that a potter makes pots or a carpenter makes tables. In the book of Genesis, the creation of Adam is described in terms of ceramics, because the Lord God fashions a figurine out of the dust of the earth, that is to say, out of clay, and then having made this little figure of a man, he breathes the breath of life into its nostrils, and the man becomes alive. And it's not insignificant in this line of tradition that Jesus is the son of a carpenter, because the whole idea of the universe is that it's an artifact. It is something made. It could have been different from that.
Okay, so
where'd you lose me?
I lost you when you were saying that everybody thinks they're supposed to be happy.
Okay.
Like a Disneyland version of life.
Yeah, like a Disneyland version of life. Everybody thinks they're supposed to be happy, and that puts a lot of pressure on people to be happy even when they're not. And so they don't have the real feelings. And the point is, you have real feelings, and you can also have good feelings. You can have them at the same time. And you have to differentiate realistically between how you feel at a given moment and how something in another way, finding your way to something that gives you pleasure or gives you satisfaction, can also bring you a kind of serenity or peacefulness, which is like happiness, but it's not an overall feeling that you know that pervades your life. It's a variable kind of emotional state. That's about as good as I can do for standing on my feet right now.
Beautiful. And what makes you happy in a daily basis?
Well, I have to say that I don't want to go into all this because I use confidentiality as part of my work.
Perfect, not a problem. Okay, any small advice that you can give to humanity on how to be more happy as a community?
Just bear in mind that the notion of happiness is not an all-encompassing kind of concept, that you have to be true to your feelings. And if you have your feelings, you can also have some kind of serenity, some other kind of happiness, but it's looking for partial kinds of happiness is the important thing.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for your help. It was a beautiful idea.
Well, hope your project.
And we talk about the difference between the knower and the known, the subjective and the objective, the internal thinker and feeler facing an external world. We say, I came into this world. I find there is therefore a general sense that I am something to which this external world is a stranger. That there is a feeling that there's deep hostility between the subject and the object. And this again reflects itself in our common language, where we talk about the conquest of nature, the conquest of space, and the conquest of great mountains like Everest. And all that this adds up to is that the human being experiences himself to be very lonely and feels that death is a terrifying threat, because he's been brought up in our kind of society and our kind of culture to experience himself as something like